What's something that you don't do much of anymore?
Yeah, I think definitely comparing myself to others. And I think when I was young, you always wanted to be as fast as that person, be as strong as that person. But I think just knowing I need to be this, I need to do this for me. And I think talking to the experts around this is what your profile of a netballer is going to look like. And these are the goals you need to hit to do that. So that was really helpful. It's not like I can't run as fast as Kate Maloney, for example, or I can't be strong
Yeah.
as
I
like
can't
just
be
know.
as tall as Cara
Yeah,
Coney. Yeah.
exactly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bree Hearn, and welcome to The Habit Nerd, the podcast where we unpack the science of habits, behavior, and what it really takes to create meaningful change. One of the most powerful ways to grow is to learn from people who are already where you want to be, because success leaves clues. And when we pay attention to those clues, we can shorten the path between where we are and where we're going. In these conversations, I sit down with people who are doing exceptional work in their fields, not just to hear their stories, but to understand the habits, decisions, and patterns that got them there. Think of it as a shortcut, a way to collapse time, to learn in one conversation what might otherwise take you years of trial and error. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's dive in. Hi there, Habit Nerds. Today's guest is a very exciting one. Just a couple of months out from the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, I am interviewing Liz Watson. Liz is the captain of the Australian Diamonds Netball team and also the Sunshine Coast Lightning, and one of the world's leading netballers. Liz is recognised for her creativity, her consistency, and her leadership in the mid-court, playing at the highest level for both Australia and in Super Netball. Liz has represented Australia since 2016 and she's been part of multiple international campaigns, including Commonwealth Games and World Cup success, along with receiving netball's highest individual honour, the Liz Ellis Diamond, not once, but twice. Beyond her accolades, Liz is known for the habits, discipline, and team first mindset that underpins her performance, making her the perfect guest to explore what it really takes to sustain excellence over time. Liz, I cannot tell you how excited I am to welcome you to the Habit Nerd podcast. Thank you for the generosity of your time today.
No, thank you. And that's a lovely intro. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, it's all true and it's my pleasure. All right, Liz. So when people see you play, they see excellence. But what habits sit underneath that consistency?
Yeah, look, I think it's a long career of habits as well. I've been in netball pretty much all my 20s. So my first professional contract was when I was about 19 years old. So obviously your 20s, you're growing up, you're changing. So habits have changed across the time. I think when I first started, you're just trying to figure it out. It's that excitement. It's just wanting to be out there, soak everything in. And they sort of talk about this second year blues. So I had a really good first year. And I think sometimes when you break out into the competition, no one really knows you. You can kind of just do what you want and just sort of, run with it. And then as you get into the years, people start to figure out how you play, your style of play, and how to beat that. So I think that's the biggest challenge, was going from my first year, which was really successful. Second year, people sort of start to figure out what are your habits and what am I going to do to keep getting better and keep growing, and then to be able to sustain it. And I guess for me, being able to perform for such a long time, it like my habits are very, very simple, which is probably not groundbreaking stuff, but it's the basic consistency of what I do. And I think when I first started, my mentality was every single netballer is pretty much training the same. We do the same sort of sessions, we're training the same amount of days. I wanted to find that edge on what else can I do to be better. Um, and I would do extra training or extra running. And I think for me, I loved training. So that was natural to me. Not saying it's probably always the right answer. Probably our sports scientists and S&Cs didn't want me to burn out and whatnot, but I was always just wanting to find different ways that I could, I guess, challenge myself and keep improving.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I haven't heard that second year blues before, but it makes a lot of sense. And I guess, it is a bit of a gift to come in under the radar a little bit and you've only sort of got yourself to prove. But then, yeah, as you become, bigger and more well known. And I assume you're talking about your opponents and other coaches learning your game style and helping, be more competitive against you?
Yeah, the jump from, I guess, the league before the professional league, it's massive. Like I felt that
Mm.
straight away. I was very lucky. I had such great role models when I first started at the Vixens at the time, and I had really good support and just people who showed me what you have to do to be an elite athlete on and off the court. So I was very, very lucky. Bianca Chatfield was the captain at the time, who's still a great friend of mine and probably really set my standards from the start. But then, yeah, opposition start to figure out how you play. They start to analyze your weaknesses, your strengths, is what we still do now. Um, so you still have to sort of keep getting better. And I think for me, I've always been scared of just plateauing in
Right.
this career. And even though I've had great success individually and as a team,
Mm.
my biggest fear was like, I don't want to be that athlete who's like, oh, she was good a few years ago and now she's just kind of like there.
Yeah, just rolling
Always
through the
challenging
motions.
myself and yeah, always wanting to get better, really.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Lizzie, you're obviously in SSN games at the moment, but preparing for the Com Games. What
Mm.
does a typical training day look like when you're in a season like this? And what are the non-negotiable habits? You say they're pretty boring and nothing groundbreaking, but please, we still want to hear about them. So, what are the non-negotiable habits that you protect no matter how busy you get?
Yeah, I think being here on the sunny coast now, it's a very early rise, get up in the morning culture. So I've really shifted to that. I love getting up early now. At the moment, we're training about 3 times a week. Most of our sessions start quite early, so I'm kind of out the door, at the club by about 7:30. So you're sort of up preparing. So I think what I've sort of taken is I have to be go into my work, which is netball, doesn't feel like work, but I need to be physically and mentally ready every time I go. So I can't just roll out of bed and jump in the car with a piece of toast and expect to perform. I have to make sure I'm up that hour before. I always lay out my clothes, even though they're just my shorts and my singlet and my training, crop top, whatnot. They're always on the floor next to my bed. And that's kind of what I've done every day of my life now. I just always put my clothes out. Not that my wardrobe's messy, like I'd be able to find it quite easily in the
Mm.
morning, but there's something about having it just there, ready to go. Don't think in the morning, put that on, turn around, make my bed straight away. That's just something that, I'm sure people have spoken about that a lot, but you just feel really like you've achieved something at
Yes.
5:30 in the morning. And then for me, it's like breakfast and coffee and sitting down and having that and actually making sure that I'm doing that properly. And I think I've realized that as an athlete, fuel is what we need to perform. So if I don't have that time in the morning, I get to training, I'm flustered, I don't have any fuel in my body, I don't feel ready to perform. So actually designating time in the morning, whether it is just having to get up that bit earlier, to sit down and eat breakfast and get myself ready and do my hair and not that we really wear makeup or anything, but actually look after yourself because you're kind of just in gym clothes every day, so feel good. And then when you leave the house you're actually ready to perform. But that's, yeah, if you talk about morning routine, I have it down to a T. I just have to do that before I leave every day.
They sound, as you say, pretty run of the mill, but there's so much power to everything that you've just said. And, they touch on so many behavior change principles that, as you say, come up over and over. There's something about just that winning the morning to win the day,
Yeah.
protecting your energy before you get there. I love that, you're going to training, and I'm sure, as you say, 3 days a week, it's very comfortable and very routine based, but yet you're still very aware that you want to bring your best self for yourself. And I think also the thing about, putting on your workout gear and doing your hair properly and everything, that's that thing about, it's a psychological principle, I'm sure you know, but it's called enclothed cognition. And the idea is that when you feel good about how you look, you show up differently.
Yeah.
And I guess the bed making is a little bit similar, isn't it? It's that idea that how you do some things is how you do everything. And I sort of, I referenced you as excellent, and we see excellence in your game, there's no question. But I just really appreciate you breaking down where else you show up, with excellence. And there's no doubt that that's carrying over as a spillover effect to your netball. So yeah, that's fascinating. I'm so glad I asked the question, Liz.
Yeah.
Um, you're an inspiring leader, both on and off the court. Have your habits changed as you've moved from that emerging first and second year player to captain now of both the Diamonds and the Lightning?
Yeah, I think you naturally, when you are in a leadership position, you are thinking more and more about your teammates and how you want to bring them along. I think when you're first in it, you're trying to find yourself where you fit in a group, where you fit in a team. And obviously, at the Diamonds level is a whole nother level. Like you're trying to break in, it's constant selection, it's constant performing. And I've always said the hardest match I've ever played is when it's Australia versus Australia, when we play against each other at our training camps. It is absolutely on. So I think being able to, you know, perform well individually.
Yes.
Then obviously once you're a bit more experienced, you've got that knowledge to share, you've got those experiences to share, and you naturally just share those with the younger ones coming through, because I know I was that annoying young person who just wanted to know and wanted to ask all those questions growing up. So I think in terms of habits, I feel like performing, I've always kept them very like this is what I'd like to do to perform really well. Obviously things tweak along the way, like I've, in terms of nutrition and as you get older and rehab and all those little things, performance based. But generally they've all been pretty the same. And I think in leadership, it's probably just being more conscious of the influence you can have as well without realizing. And
Mhm.
something mum always said to me was, your actions speak louder than words. And I was always that girl. I was never loud when I was younger. I'm probably not the loudest leader now, but even when I was growing up, always quite shy, probably the quietest in the team, just did my stuff on the court, but weren't really, loud or anything off the court. And I think I've really stuck with that, is that even though you are the captain of the Diamonds, you don't have to have the loudest voice. You don't have to be the best player. You don't have to have the biggest energy. It's just those little subtle moments that you can make someone feel like they're being seen, they're being heard, they're being listened to, and just sharing my knowledge, because I know I've got a lot of experience. But then also for me, it's opening up that conversation to ask someone, well, what do you bring to, like, or what do you see, or how do you see the game? Because yeah, it can be completely different and something you've never thought about before, which is the beauty of a big squad with lots of different ages, lots of different experiences, lots of different teams, and we all come together and try and make it work.
Wow. They are so lucky to have you, Liz. I think I have seen you. I mean, I've seen commentary about you, my research. And obviously, I should have said I'm a massive Vixens fan and have been a member for a long time. And so, it was very sad when you left, but have followed your career very closely, as have my daughters and my sister. But I think that idea that you are aware of what you were given, and so being able to emulate that for the people coming up behind. You have been described often as a quiet leader, and I think that's a real gift that your mum gave you, and that obviously it's in your personality type to not be hugely over the top and out there and loud and high energy. But I completely respect and certainly see evidence in the way that you play, in the way that you operate, that it's about how you make people feel rather than what you say, and that just comes through so strongly. So, yeah, I think, it is always worth remembering, though, how much you have to offer. So,
Yeah,
it's, I think, and I hope you do. Like, I hope you see, now that, 10 years on or whatever, that the people that, the Bianca Chatfields, et cetera, who led you, you are now, doing that for the younger players. And they, they're so lucky just to be, amongst it. How,
yeah.
just very quickly, you said, things like nutrition has changed as you've gotten older. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think when I first started, it's knowing what you actually need to be eating to perform. I think, like, I was very lucky. I grew up in a household where mum was very healthy, and generally, we were a pretty healthy household. But I think being at elite level, it's completely different in how much you need to be eating, the recovery aspect, the the timing of when you eat things. So it's not necessarily what I was eating, it's probably like when I was eating, when I was recovering, different sort of, as a female athlete, we always are quite low in iron, so figuring out that I was very anemic at one stage, so actually
Mm,
realizing, oh, this is why I'm tired at training. This is why I can't run fast. So to going
mm,
down that path and figuring out what that means. But I think it's just, yeah, the timings of things. Obviously, different foods for different elements, like the ones can help with inflammation, and then the ones that can help with tendons. Like I get lots of tendon pains. There's different, collagen foods that can help with that as well. So just these little things that you kind of figure out as you go. But it's probably more realizing that and our dietitian says this as well, generally female athletes probably under fuel without
mm,
realizing. We
mm,
think we've had enough, we think we're good, but we're probably really under fueling. Um, and to me, it feels like it's a lot of food. It feels like I'm doing well, but she's like, no, you're burning this much energy and you're backing up tomorrow. So I think that's now just fallen naturally um, into my habits, I guess, and my diet. Like I know if I don't have a good dinner, I'm gonna feel really average in the morning, and I've got to go try and do a gym session.
yeah.
So you're always thinking about that 24/7 athlete. It's a real thing because you're always just thinking about, no, I need to have breakfast now because if I don't have breakfast, I'll probably drive my family crazy. If I don't eat now, it won't digest in time, and then I won't feel great. So just those sort of things, I can't be running into a big court session, just finished a bowl of porridge. Like that's not going
Mm,
to sit well. So
yeah,
learning what foods you can have on the go and quick, and what
mm,
foods you need to allow time to digest. So, but now I feel like I've been doing it for a long time that it kind of feels like very routine based, very structured. I'm quite a boring, not bland, but kind of very structured
just
in a way.
routine based.
Yeah, routine based. I just know what works, and sometimes I've got to see the enjoyment in food as well. It's not just fuel. You get into that trap. It's like, no, I just got to eat this. I know it's going to do me good, but
Yeah,
actually,
trying to strike the balance between
time
your
I know,
Italian heritage and liking some
and you're
some
allowed
beautiful
to go out
food.
and have pizza, you're allowed to have chocolate. That's all good.
Yes.
It's just figuring out when and where and the best for the performance, really.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. I've always wondered this whenever I'm at a netball game, particularly a big one. Just say you're playing centre or just say you're playing wing attack, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
What is happening in your mind just before that first centre pass? Like what's going through your head?
I'm probably very calm on game day, and I feel like I've got that feedback before that I look like nothing kind of phases me. But the reason is because I feel like I've done lots of prep throughout the week. So I would be really nervous going into a game if I haven't prepared well, if I haven't trained well, if I haven't done my analysis properly, if I feel like I might be carrying a bit of an injury. That's when my nerves kind of heighten for a game. If I know
Right.
I've done all that well throughout the week, I'm like, great. I know what my opponent's doing. I know our game plan. It's fine. So it's sort of like anything in life. If you're not prepared, you're going to feel more nervous about, presenting or doing something. If you've done all the prep, it's going to feel a lot easier. So before the first whistle, we always sort of have, I guess, not a set play, but we've got a bit of a structure on what we want to do that very first one. And we do the same things coming out of a timeout or after a quarter time break just to know, okay, we're all on the same page. That's great. As center, it's probably a bit easier because I can just stand there and watch them run and figure out, oh yeah, I know what they're going to do because she's going to stand there and the goal attack's going to run out this way. When I'm in wing attacks generally call those plays every center pass. So it's probably been more switched on to communicating with the goal attack and figuring out, okay, I'm going to go over the line first. You wait, come over if I need help. Like those kind of conversations are happening. Um,
Yeah, I've never thought of that. I've never thought it that the centre's kind of you're being led by where the pass is
yeah,
led
center's
from,
probably a
and
bit
you
easier.
run after that. But yeah, that's so interesting.
Pass it and then you find the space and you sort of fill the space. Um, but wing attacks, I find you need to be a bit more directive and dominant and actually control a little bit more, especially at
Yeah.
the start of a centre pass. So centre is easy when you just have the centre pass, you're just great.
Oh, that's so
Wing attack, I'll
interesting.
definitely be talking to our goal attack and saying, all right, you're going to start in front of me for this one, or you're going to start back in the circle. Like we've got different set plays, I guess, but
Yeah.
um, at the start of a game, it's just, I think, going really hard and just setting a tone that you want to play the game at.
Okay.
So I've always sort of said, run hard at the start, set the tone, and then hopefully it just sort of flows from that.
That's a great analogy for life. Set
Yeah.
yourself up well, and it sounds like something that permeates a lot of your mindset across, across other areas as well. So basically, what you've said is that the center pass or the first whistle is just executing what you've already had in place across the week, and it's sort
Yeah.
of, and yeah, I guess something I try and talk to my kids about is that like proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what about if you haven't had a great week? What about if something's happened?
Yeah, I probably learnt this on a Diamonds tour once. We had a really rough time going through a bit of stuff happening off the court, and we were having lots of meetings, and just, everyone felt a bit down. And I had really poor sleep. I didn't have a proper breakfast before training because I was running and rushing and whatever.
Mm.
And I played like one of the best games of the tour, and I think I got MVP of that game. And it just felt like you actually can do it. And I think what I've learned, if it's a one-off, like a bad night's sleep before the game, you actually will be fine. If you've had 6 bad nights of sleep before the game, you might not feel great. So I think it's knowing that you can still perform off a really bad or not ideal prep. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes your body just takes over and the adrenaline takes over. Also, being in the game for a long time, I think my instinct takes over. So I can
Mm.
probably read and problem solve as I go. But I think we learnt this from one of our sleep studies we did. She actually said to us, if you've had a bad night's sleep the night before a game, it's actually fine. If you've had, the night before that and the night before that, and the, accumulation of bad sleep, or
Mm.
that's when you might feel the effects in the game. So don't worry if you're nervous and you have that nervous sleep before a game, it's all good.
That takes
Um,
some pressure off, doesn't it?
yeah, which is so reassuring that your body can do it. And I think we're very lucky. We're backed up a lot with data. So we wear GPS units in our dresses. So it shows how hard we run. And we've had really good conversations at Com Games and World Cup when we're, going into a semi-final. We've played 6 games in 7 days or whatever it is. And our S&C coach says, yeah, but your data is the highest it's been, and you can run longer and harder than the opposition. You actually can do it. We did it at training, and we're like, oh, okay, we just have to do what we did at training that day, and you'll get that feeling, and then you'll be like, great. So I think knowing the numbers does help in a way.
Yeah, that's fascinating. There's real like comfort from the data
It
because
is. It
you've
really is.
got proof there. Yeah, and it's almost like I think that's a really good point you raised though that your body remembers. Like you've put the reps in over, however many years or, so that I think that's just a great kind of life motto that it'll be all right. Like and you can and I think that's such a good lesson that you've been able to learn that had you had that terrible kind of off-court experience and there was a lot of extraneous stress that wasn't about what was happening on the court, but yet your body still remembered what to do. Like that's cool, isn't it? Hi there, quick one. If your habits feel all over the place right now, listen up. I've created a 17-day tiny habits reset. And it's not about waking up at 5 a.m. or overhauling your life. It's about the small, invisible habits that are already running the show and how to shift them fast. In just a few minutes a day, you'll start to build habits that actually stick, feel more in control, and finally trust yourself again. No pressure, no perfection, just real change that lasts. The waitlist link for the 17-day Tiny Habits Reset is sitting right inside the show notes of this exact episode. So pause this for a second, scroll down, tap the link, and secure your spot before the doors officially open. I can't wait to see you in there.
And I think if you're obviously having late nights before every game, it's probably going to catch up at some stage. But I think knowing that you can perform, and your body will know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that reminder and I appreciate you giving it to our audience. Liz, what does your self-talk sound like during a tough game? So when things aren't going particularly well, and how do you stay composed during those high pressure moments?
Yeah, I know in myself when I'm struggling, I go really internal, so I'm not communicating. And I think
Mm.
in particular in that wing attack position, like I mentioned earlier, you are being very, direct. You have to communicate, you have to set up plays, you have to talk to your goal attack a lot. And if I know that we're struggling or I'm not performing, I'll just be tunnel vision. I'll just run my own race and go over the line and just do what I think is going to work. And for me, it's get every second pass and run to the ball and then run back and pass it. So I feel like I go to the ball too much, which is probably
Okay,
not a good thing as well because you're probably crowding the space. Um,
interesting.
Lots of athletes might run away from the ball and not want it in their hands. So it's finding that balance of, for me, it's just connecting. And it's such a, I guess, cliche word that we say you must connect, you must make sure you're working with your team, but it makes such a difference if I just make eye contact with someone or high five someone or run out of my way to pick up someone who's fallen down or been knocked over. Like those little things go such a long way, I feel, in just getting you back on track and knowing that you're not in it by yourself. Because when you're winning and things are going well, it's so easy to be like, well
Yeah,
done, good job, that was awesome, high five, next one, let's do this. It's easy. As soon
yeah,
as you're challenged or you're down, it is so much harder to be like, it's all good, great job. Like that stuff is the first thing to go
of
because
course.
you don't want to sound like, condescending in a way. You don't want to sound like it's
Yeah,
crisis. You don't want to sound like, oh no, we've really lost this game. You still want to keep it positive, but at the same time, it's not all positive. It probably needs a bit of, correction. So that's the challenge, is when things aren't going well, how you can keep that connection and that positive talk. Yeah, because I'm sure, even in life when things are great, it's so easy to just communicate, everything's awesome.
for for
And then
sure.
when things don't
Yeah.
go well, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, it's that idea that we need to plan for our worst days, not
Yeah.
everything our
Yeah.
best days, everything will tick along. That's amazing. So two things I just want to pick up on there. The one is that you're obviously very introspective to your own patterns. So you know what you're likely to do when you're down. So go to the past when maybe you should be creating some space, or as you say, some other players might almost hide from the ball and just say, like, I'm not up to it. I need a couple of minutes. But
Yeah.
that introspection is so powerful because you need to know yourself and where you fit to then be able to lead others. But just that other part about, so that's self connection, but the other part about connecting with your team, there's something to be said for, like, if you can't impact your own performance and if you're not feeling particularly good, bringing someone else along is the best that you can hope for. And I think, it's like when you're struggling at work or whatever, I've heard this put that go and help someone else, like go and see if someone else needs a hand. And it just kind of gets you out of your own way a little bit. And I'm fascinated to hear that that plays out on the netball court as well. And that, yeah, are you cognizant of that? Do you think you say to yourself, all right, we're a bit low here. I really have to, like, even if it feels a bit over the top or patronizing or condescending, I need to go to my teammates and
Yeah.
to them.
It's breaking it down like, okay, next center pass, let's just make sure we get the ball to the circle edge before we, like, it's really easy to say, okay, we've got to score the next one. Like, of course, we're trying to score every single one. Like, no one's not trying to score. Actually, put an action to it. So it might be like, all right, we're going to get the ball to the circle edge before we pass it into the goals, and everyone knows that that's the plan. Or this in a pass, we're going to pass it back to our wing defense and goal defense running down. So everyone's kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
I guess just to your point about knowing, I think sharing with my teammates, and we've done work on this before, like in a culture session, like this is what happens to me when I'm stressed. So
Mm,
the teammate sees that, they know, okay, she's stressed, I'm going to go help her. So for me, it's knowing the people close to me on the court. Okay, I don't know, an example might be if a goal shooter starts running out too much or moving too much in the circle, you know that they're panicking or they're overthinking. If I can
right.
see that, then I can say, just get in there, hold there, like I'll help. Like,
You're
so
okay.
just sharing
Yeah.
that. And then I think the next step is when you are out there on court, actually saying, and it's hard because you want to be that strong, powerful, like I've got this, I'm not
Yes.
weak, but being able to say, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm getting stuck here, just voicing
Yeah.
that. It's that
Yeah.
classic, like a problem shared is a problem halved. And as soon as you,
Totally.
because if someone said that to me, like, all right, Jamari, I'll help you, let's go, like we'll do this together.
Yeah.
So just being yeah, open enough and comfortable enough to say it's okay if you don't, because there's always going to be times on court that it doesn't feel great. Just share it with someone, and it I'm sure it'll come out a lot better than you just keeping it in yourself. And then post game, when you debrief it and you've said, I really felt this in this moment, I'd be like, just tell me that in that moment, because we probably could have solved it then and there on the court.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so was that part of a strategy session, as you say, where you learned each other's patterns, what's likely to happen when you're panicking or when you're feeling, not great or a bit up against the wall?
Yeah, we had a really tough diamonds camp in January, so it was testing us, I guess, physically with all the conditioning work we were doing, and then putting us on under pressure out there on court. So doing, I guess, drills and match play under fatigue. So we had a conversation before about, all right, when you're really tired or you can't run anymore or you're feeling stressed, like what does that look like for you? And that
Mm.
really helped, just to share like one or two things. And for me, it was like, I don't communicate on the center pass. And our goal attack was like, oh, great. Okay. So if you go silent, I'm going to start calling them, or I'm going to tell you to tell me something.
Yeah, right.
They're like, oh, okay, cool. As soon as you start to go quiet, we know Liz is in her own head. I'm going to help her get out of it by maybe taking a load and say, all right, I'll take charge for the next few minutes until she gets back in it. And then, so yeah, those things really helped. And again, they're very simple behaviors. They're very, um, you know, common things that happen, but they're so powerful.
And I would imagine that stuff is one of the best parts about team sport. Like if you're on a tennis court by yourself or whatever, you can't have those chats and lift each other up and,
Mm,
and go and grab somebody's hand and pull them up metaphorically out of where they are, knowing the strategies that help them. Yeah, that's incredible.
yeah.
Um, Speaking about this stuff, what's been the hardest setback in your career, Liz, and what habits helped you get through it?
Yeah, I've been incredibly lucky with injuries and everything in my career. I missed out on one season. I had a broken bone in my foot, so I missed that year.
Mm.
Which, you know, in a 10-year stint, I'm very very lucky, and I'm not. It's not.
Well, full year, that's significant.
Like they're it's sport and that happens, but I just found ways to still be involved. And I always say this to kids now who are injured and not missing out on their trials, like, how can you still be involved in the team? Always ways. How can you still train? There's always ways you can still train. Even with a broken arm, there'll be ways. I was in a cast, but I'm doing arm stuff, boxing. Like, there's always things you can still do. You might be training separate to the group, but you're still maybe at the courts. You're still maybe
Mm.
gym at the same time. So you still have that connection, which again is the beauty of team sport. You've got those
Mm.
people around you. So I think, yeah, for that, I missed out on that season. It was a bit of a COVID year too. So the team was traveling a little bit and whatnot. But when I was with them, I think I was a bit more experienced too. So being able to offer some coaching things to the young girls, just helping out with, team logistics, whatever the team needed. You're kind of just that person, keeping it really positive and not kind of sharing what you're going through all the time, because I think sometimes rehab is tough and you go through, it's quite lonely, but I think the energy I got was from people and wanting to be around them and share everything. So yeah, I think just finding ways to still be involved was, yeah, my biggest thing.
Yeah, it's like you can't do everything, but you can do something.
Yeah,
Like it's just being active in some way, with people and alongside and training in the way that you can. And I think that's yeah, it's way more empowering to look at it than just, oh my God, like
yeah,
I'm done,
yeah.
So
And feel that, I think it ripples through. And I'm not saying you have to hide all that, but when a team's trying to perform, I'm very conscious of, I'm not trying to put on all my baggage onto the team who's going to go out there and perform. So still being really positive around the team and helpful.
yeah,
And there's times and place where you can, share what you're going through, and even if you just need to vent some stuff out. But I
sure.
think, if you've got someone who's always down, it's kind of going to bring you down with them. So yeah, it's finding that balance.
Yeah, and understanding, remembering that you're human at the end of it, I'd imagine. So
Yeah.
how did you build confidence after time out? How was it going back after the year?
Yeah, really good. I think I had a really great team of support staff that helped me. Very lucky in elite sport. You've got, the physio and S&C who are kind of working closely with you. Again, been backed up by data is really comforting to know, like, yep, you're just as strong as you were when you did your injury, you're just as fit as you were. Your left leg is very similar to your right leg, so you're fine. Like all those sort of things give you that confidence that like, oh yeah, okay. The biggest thing was learning like the dimensions of the netball court, to be honest, like back
Oh,
on court, just figuring out where I was going offside a lot, I was running out of court a lot because
how
you
were you?
what? I know.
Funny.
It was a bit funny, but and then of course the team just helps you through. So little steps like the sessions will be, start with half sessions, start with you can do everything except the, contesting stuff. You can do everything except the match play, and then it just slowly builds up. So it was quite a seamless, nice transition. I guess I had a lot of time to rehab as well. I wasn't rushing back for anything.
Mm.
We sort of said just take the whole year, get it right. So yeah, it actually felt really, yeah, a nice year to just kind of work on myself really.
I wonder if you're a different leader because of it. I would argue maybe that you are because of that experience. It's one of those things that, we can teach young people, look back and it feels terrible in the moment, but some of those experiences will be the making, of you in certain ways. So that's a really, and not to gaslight yourself when you're in it and it's really tricky and difficult. But I think just the reminders that, you've given us all the way through this interview is when you prepare really well and when you impact what you can and look at the data and, and listen to experts and just kind of go slowly, it's
Yeah,
the preparation that the day you step on is kind of the step 100 in, in 100 steps, isn't it? So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. Now, Liz, I've got a quick fire round for you if you don't mind. Just
Really?
four questions, no pressure. What's a habit you wished you'd started earlier?
I think getting up earlier. I think moving to the coast has really helped me. Well, the sun's up at 4:40 sometimes, so you're up. But being a Victorian, I was probably, yeah. I think just get up early, enjoy the morning.
It's a
Yeah.
good one. What's a habit that you've ditched?
Oh, habit I've ditched. I think. What have I ditched? This is a tough one. I
Even a mindset or a behavior, it doesn't have to be, a habit as such. What's something that you don't do much of anymore?
Yeah, I think definitely comparing myself to others. And I think when I was young, you always wanted to be as fast as that person, be as strong as that person. But I think just knowing I need to be this, I need to do this for me. And I think talking to the experts around this is what your profile of a netballer is going to look like. And these are the goals you need to hit to do that. So that was really helpful. It's not like I can't run as fast as Kate Maloney, for example, or I can't be strong
Yeah,
as
I
like
can't
just
be as tall as
yeah,
Karakona. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, ditching just like
comparison.
yeah, just being like, oh, this is my profile. I'm gonna try and get to that every time I want to play.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
This might be a tricky one. What's the best advice you think you've received as an athlete? I'm sure there's a lot, but if you could pick one,
Um,
one.
yeah, I think definitely from Bianca when I first started. It was very simple, but she said just ask all the questions, and that just
Mhm.
me. I was young and nervous and excited and shy and just, in this elite environment with the Vixens. And she's like, just ask me anything, anything at all. Like it can be so silly, but you don't know because you've never been here before. So just
Oh,
ask.
well, that's so generous.
Yeah, so it's really helped me, and I try and do that now with every new person that comes into our squad. I said, yell out if you need anything, ask me anything, because what you know, like you don't know what you don't know, and you've never been a part of this environment. So, she, yeah, really shaped. She's an incredible leader, and she just really shaped lots of my, I guess, thinking about leadership. Um, yeah, just ask questions, and I say that to kids all the
Mm,
time too. Like, if you don't make a team, go ask the coach, like, what can I do next time? Or else you just go through the same cycle and potentially miss out again. So,
mm.
um, it can be scary to go up to the selector or the coach and say, what can I do? But that's what they would really appreciate.
Yeah, ask all the questions. I love it. You do a lot of work beyond the netball court too, Liz. So, what does high performance mean beyond sport for you?
Yeah, I think, well, sports obviously taught me a lot of just good habits in general. And I think I'm very lucky to be able to take those to life beyond netball, whatever that looks like. I feel like it's taught me to be organized, to be disciplined, all those things that are great life skills.
Mm.
And also just treating life like a bit of high performance, because you do have those really high moments, you have really tough moments, and everyone has their version of game day, whatever that looks like. So being prepared for that, I think, is really, like, sports definitely taught me that. I know that it's going to help me post sport, whatever I end up doing. I feel like I've got good routines, structures, and just mentality on, like, oh, this is a game day for me today. Like, whatever it may be, it might just be a crazy day with kids or whatever it is, or how can I show up for that day?
Yeah, wow. Just game day attitude. Like
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
netball field or when you end up in the classroom one day or whatever. Yeah,
game day then.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, all right, Liz, that's the end of my questions. Tell me, is there anything you're excited about? Obviously the Commonwealth Games. Is there anything else you want to share that you're looking forward to?
A really big year, yes. We've got Commonwealth Games coming up, getting married later in the year too, which is very exciting. And then I feel like netball, like even next year, we've got our home World Cup in Sydney, so a really big 2 years for netball. But I'm just really excited just to keep getting better. I think I've always said that is I can't just sort of be comfortable and content with where I am and what I've achieved. And I know I've had a very lucky and incredible career. And if it ended tomorrow, I'd be very, very happy with everything I've done, which I think is a very rare and good space for an athlete to be in. So I'm very lucky in that sense. But, I want to sort of keep going till I have that itch to stop. And right
Mm.
now I want to keep achieving things and doing things with this group. So, yeah, I'm really excited for the next 2 years in particular. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, and we know that you've had an enormous impact. So if it ended tomorrow, you would absolutely be proud. But I'm excited for you that there's still kind of great work to be done over the next couple of years. Yeah, and a beautiful wedding later in the year as well. Um, Liz, thank you so much for all of the generosity of those answers. I am so excited to have met you, and I'm just grateful, and I know that the audience will gain a huge amount. I want to wish you all the best for the upcoming Com Games, and just know that we're all behind you. And just a huge thank you for being on the Habit Nerd podcast today.
Thank you. It's been amazing. Doing incredible things. So I really appreciate you having me on.